Well, hello and welcome to episode 4. It is episode 4, right? I have no idea what I'm doing today, apparently. Well, hello and welcome to episode 4 of Michelle's Fiber Studio podcast. My name is Michelle and I am your host. It is Sunday, May 5th today. It is another gray, dreary, cloudy day here. You probably can see it in my window, a little bit of grayness. We had a little bit of sunshine this morning, but it's kind of disappeared. But that's okay. We have some nice weather coming up in the next couple of days. Should be nice and sunny and warm. Oh, I'm hoping warm. And so we should be headed in that direction. Let's hope. I am so excited to be here to talk to you today. If this is your first time joining me, thank you so much. And if you muddled through the last several podcasts of mine, thank you so much for coming back. I have a couple of finished objects to share with you and some updates, progress updates on things that I have been working on this week. But first, let's talk about what I'm wearing. The shawl that I have here is called Breath and Hope by Casapinka. It is a shawl that I made last summer. I'll take it off here so maybe you can get a little better look at it. It's kind of an off triangle. What do they call that? Words are escaping me. But it's done. It's got some really fun textures in it, in different patterns. The yarn is yarn that I picked up at the Fiber Frolic in Maine here last June. It is from Ellen Cooper's Yarn Sonnets. The yarn is Jenny, and it is a 50-50 bamboo cotton blend. And there's 2 colors that I used. So one of them was Koi Pond. That's the colored one, and then the whitish is called Driftwood. And used 2 skeins of each that you then alternated and made this really great shawl. This is actually the sample that I saw in Ellen Cooper's display, or in her booth rather. This was the shawl that she had on display, the pattern in the exact colors. It was a situation of, I saw it and I want to make that right there. And so I got the exact yarn to make this. I cast it on that very day when I got home from the Fiber Frolic. I cast it on and finished it sometime about the middle of July. So it's one that I really like to grab quite a bit. I really like the colors. I like the contrast of the white with the colors. And then Marta is wearing a sweater today. That is the Eliza Pullover. It's by Alison Green. And the yarn is Universal Yarns Bamboo Pop, which is a bamboo wool nylon blend. It's a DK weight yarn. And it's one that I knit. I started in the fall of 2022. It took me until February of 23. So I've had a little over a year. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a little bit longer of a sweater. So it comes down below, I can't even see it in my camera, but it's down below the hip length when I wear it. So it's a longer, it's got a split hem. If I turn, Marta, can you see my hem? Sort of, nope. Let's tip the camera. There we go, see, it's got a split hem. So it's kind of a fun pattern, one that I've enjoyed very much. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. On my blocking board today, I have 2 finished objects. One of them I'm very excited about. I finished, yes I did. I finished my Terrell Dago. Oh my goodness. You guys, it's massive. I really had no idea. It took 3 full skeins of yarn. I'll talk about the yarn in a second, but that's what I have left. Like when I talk about 2 full skeins of fingering weight, or 3 full skeins of fingering weight yarn, I'm not kidding. And you probably remember how I played yarn chicken with the 3rd one. So the yarn really, when I washed and blocked it, I blocked it yesterday, it really grew a fair amount. I will put a picture in to show you just how big it took. Like my entire dining room table opens out to like 8 feet, and it went the whole length, and then I had to get another table to pull out from the width because it starts, I'm not even gonna be able to show you adequately because that's just how big it is, but it starts, there we go, like this. So it goes down from there into the point, but then you start taking stitches from the end and building it out the other direction, so it grows in this way. So in order to adequately block it out, I had to really get a little creative with my table, but oh my goodness, it's so much fun. Here, let's try it on. Let's take off my other one. Let's give this a try. I haven't even tried it on. I literally took it off the table like when I got home from church today. So I'm not even sure how I'm going to wear this. Let's see. Figure it out with me, guys, huh? There we go. Ooh, it's stuck. It's gonna be good, I think, in the winter when it's really cold, because it's gonna end up being really big. There we go. I tend to double loop my shawl, so there. And it hangs down. I can't even make it hangs down lower. See how much I'm pulling it up. But yeah, so much fun. Oh my goodness, the colors are awesome. Let's see, let's talk about the yarn now. So the lighter pink, which is in the striping section here. Oops, it's inside out, there we go. So the lighter pink is Himalayan salt. It's the nimble, or on the round, nimble sock in the Himalayan salt. And then the other two yarns are Malabrigo sock, and the brighter pink is Light of Love. That's this one here. And the darker purple is the Abril. That's that color there. I did end up, I think last week, and I was working on it. I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough of the purple to complete all of the lace repeats, and I did come up, I think it was it must have been 4 rows, because I think I had 2 extra stitches, and every other row I decreased a stitch. And I just shifted those into the pink section, and you can see I actually have more of the pink than the purple. So that worked out. I was able to get the whole amount done, just slightly different configuration in the yarn that I was using, a little bit less lace, a little bit more of this stockinette section here. So I finished it on a Friday. I got home from school and I had kind of paced out how much I needed to do, how many rows I needed to do about Tuesday or Wednesday. I was figuring how many I had to do to actually get it done by the end of the week so I could talk about it today. That was my goal from the get. And when I got home from work on Friday, I think I had 6 repeats, so 12 rows left. I'm like, all right, let's see how many I can get done. And I finished those, and then there is 4 rows on the very end. Oh, here we go. This is the end. So in the very end, you have 4 rows of ribbing, and I was able to bang those rows out really fast. And then I had something to do in the evening I'll talk about later, and came home and bound it off and got it all blocked yesterday. So it is done. I'm really excited to have this one off the needles, into my wardrobe. I'm sure it's not gonna get worn a whole lot until next fall or winter, because we're heading into the warmer months where I wear shawls a fair bit less, or not at all, honestly, when we get into the summer months. So, but for the moment, it is done. The second project that I have on my blocking board is I finished all the parts of my float tote. And last time I podcast, I had the bag done. I was still working on the tray, which I did complete. So the tray is done. And then there are 3 cups that go on the tray. I stole the other 2 cups last night. I finished them up, and then they're in another project. You'll see them a little bit later. But there are 3 cups that fit right into the tray nicely. and then that can go right into the bottom of the float tote. So I'm pretty happy with it. It's heavy, it's dense. It ended up being, I don't have the notes in here. I think it was 18.5 ounces, so a little over a pound of yarn. I used total. I used a J hook. The yarn is held double. You may recall the ginormous cone. This is how much I have left, plus this here. So, because I was, obviously I can't hold it double by just working off of the cone. So I was winding it off into a skein, or into a, oh my word, what's this called? A cake. Goodness gracious, into a cake. And then I would knit from the cake and from the cone at the same time. So that's what I have left. I am toying around with starting a second one, I think I said last week, and setting it aside as a baby gift, because I think it would make a great baby gift to like hold like the diapers and whatever, and then they have the tote bag as well. So I might do that so I can use it up. So we'll see, but I'm not in a hurry to start that either. So for the moment, this just might get tucked back into my closet. So, but that is what I have on my blocking board this week. So for this week in my knitting bag, in my project bag, I have updates on 3 projects. So let's start with my Ameyo. Ameyo is by Leslie Ann Robinson. This is my brioche shawl. I'm really enjoying it. I got a bit more, you can see with my stitch marker there. So that's how much I got done last week. Not too bad, considering that my focus really was on my Teague. But I think it was Thursday. I'm like, I just want to do this. I want to do something a little different. I had to actually rewatch the video by Stephen West. It had been a couple of weeks since I had really pulled it out. So I just wanted to remind myself so I wouldn't be completely lost. But I'm having a really good time with it. Now that Teague is done, I can focus on this more. I also have another shawl too, though, that I started in February that I kind of set aside. So I want to pull that one out into the rotation as well. But I'm hoping to give this one a little bit more love. So let's talk about the yarn. I have 2 different yarns here. They are both by Tote Knit yarn. And the first one here, the fingering weight yarn, is the Jimmy Sock. And it is the Summer Clover colorway. Actually, let me show you the other side, Tote Knit yarn. And then the mohair is also Tote Knit, and this is the Abigail mohair lace, which I do believe, I got an email this week that she is no longer going to be carrying. She's doing a little something different for her mohair, or for her lace weight anyway. And the colorway on that one is 38. Not sure what that reference is, but that's what it is. I think I'm pretty happy with the play of the colors. There's a fair bit of yellow, which I guess I wasn't sure how that was going to play off, so we'll see. But if I don't want as much yellow showing, then I can do the front side, which is the whites and the purples. But yeah, so that's my Ameyo. A lot of fun. I'm using size 4 needles, and it's been a great project so far. So let's get this one tucked away. I have this in my project bag. It is by Wool & Woman Fibers, and it is the Greatest Yarny Adventure bag. It came in the Greatest Yarny Adventure box that they did this past winter in collaboration with Natty. So it's got a double drawstring bag like this. It's a perfect size for a shawl. It's a really great size, so I'm enjoying that very much. Let's see, the next project that I am going to pull out for you is my Musselburgh, and show you the progress I've made on that one. It's definitely starting to look a little, can I stick it on my head? There we go. Hey, little bit of a hat. I got 2 project markers, but the first one, the rainbow one, that is where I started at the beginning of the week. And then Friday night, we had a school dance, and I chaperoned the dance. And so I brought this project with me. My principal made fun of me because I had my knitting with me, and I said, hey, I can walk around and chaperone a dance and knit at the same time. And look how much I got done. I got what? An inch, not quite an inch done. And that was only, the dance was 2 hours and I didn't knit the whole time. I want to say I only knit maybe an hour's worth. So yeah, pretty happy with that progress. So, and that is my Musselburgh. Let's talk about the yarn. It is one of my Yarnables yarn, Hypnotic yarn in the Yarnables monthly subscription. That's a subscription box. You have the option of getting, I think it's either fingering or DK, and you can do 1 skein or 2 skeins. They only open up for additional subscribers every 2 or 3 months, but you can get on a waiting list. So that way, when they open up, you will be ready to go. Just putting your name on the waiting list doesn't obligate you. They always come back and ask if you still want to do it. So you have the option at that point. And then of course she has yarn for sale all the time on her website as well. This was my February 2024 colorway, and Love is Love was the name of that one. So again, it's got blues and turquoise and purple. I think it's gonna be a super fun hat for me next winter. And then the last project in my project bag is my Americana shawl. Protest is Patriotic is the official name by nycraft craftivist. This was again a kit that I got from my local yarn store a couple of years ago actually. So I am moving along. Oh, let's see, where was my stitch marker? Right there. So I've pretty much got my 4 colors, 2 of each done. I think, no, not quite. I got 3 of them done this week, but that's okay. I have 4 stripe pairs to go. Remember, my goal was to get this done by Memorial Day, and I'm quite sure that I will. I'm actually kind of hoping, see, I stole my cups here from my float tote. I was working on this last night when we visited with my mother-in-law, and I don't know if you can see, there's not a ton of yarn left. That's the white, and the red, like it's kind of floppy in there. Like, there's not a lot left. So I actually don't know that I'm gonna have enough to do 4 of each. What I probably should do is weigh them and figure out how much it takes to do 1 in back or 2 in back, because they're done in pairs. So that way I can stop appropriately. That's really probably what I should do. But in any event, I'm actually kind of hoping I can finish this week, because like, look, not a whole lot of yarn. And again, now that my Talladega is done, I can shift my focus. So this may very well be on my blocking board by next week. So project dreams, I've got a couple of different project dreams that I want to talk about this week. The first one is a shawl, another shawl. I love shawls. I like to knit shawls. I like to wear shawls. What's not to love about shawls? I do shawls all the time. But anyway, there was an email I got this week from Miss Babs that she sends her weekly email, and with lots and lots of pattern ideas. And I kind of had missed this one when I saw the original email, and then my mom got it and texted me to point out the Islands in the Stream, because it just came out, I think sometime last month. I don't have the date. I forgot to pull that. It's by Lisa K. Ross of Paper Daisy Creations. And she was offering it at 60% off through this past Wednesday. So I'm sorry, that discount has already gone by. But at any rate, my mom pointed it out to me. It is a shawl that uses like a fade set as well as a main skein. And I have some yarn that I got, oh, I did write it down. It's a fade set that I got from Dirty Water Dye Works back in 2017. So I've had that set for quite some time. I had gotten it at the spa retreat vendor event that my mom and I go to periodically. That happens every February here in Maine. And I got it with the intention actually of making, again, the shawl that I saw in the booth. and I have yet to start that project, and I've pulled the yarn out for the last 2 or 3 years. It's actually been sitting. I keep a basket next to my workspace with kind of like more active yarn. Typically it's yarn that I get that I'm really excited about that I don't want to kind of lose track of, because once it gets moved into the main stash, it kind of starts to blend all in. So if I've got plans kind of to work with that yarn, or I want to be working with that yarn more quickly, I kind of keep it in that basket next to my chair. And I've had that fade set in that basket for the last 2 years with the intention of, I want to knit with this, I want to knit with it, and I have yet to knit with it. So when I saw that shawl, Islands in the Stream, come up, I love the pattern, and I thought that it would work really, really well with that fade set. So that's not something I'm gonna start in the real near future, maybe sometime this summer. Actually, maybe I'll do it in June. We're gonna be going to New York to visit my daughter, so that might be a fun project to start right before I leave to bring with me. I kind of like having a new cast on sometimes when I go on vacation that I can work on. Maybe that's what I'll do. So that's the first one, and then the second one, I think Boxy is finally gonna get its day. Now that I finished Terrell Dago, I'm hoping maybe even tonight to swatch. I have 2 different yarn options. I kind of have them both sitting here. So the first one is this magenta yarn by Wonderland Yarns. It is their Mad Hatter, and it's Jub Bird. Yeah, color number 27, Jub. I don't even know what a Jub Bird is. Do you guys know what a Jub Bird is? Well, I'm gonna guess that a Jub Bird is purple, and it's probably some fantasy bird, since Wonderland Yarns kind of focuses on, and it's the Mad Hatter yarn, so Alice in Wonderland, and I have to admit, oh, do I even dare admit this? I've never watched Alice in Wonderland. Heresy, I know. But anyway, is there a Jub Bird in Alice in Wonderland? Oh. Anyway, I bought this yarn, I think back 3, maybe 4 years ago, actually, because I think I bought it when my local yarn store, I used to have one, like literally I could walk to it if I wanted to. They went out of business in the spring or early summer of 2020. And I think I bought this yarn from her at that point. So I have 4 skeins of this. It is a fingering, but it's a heavy fingering, almost sport. So I'm not quite sure. I gotta check the gauge and such on the Boxy to see if that would work, but I think the color would be fun. I'm leaning towards this one, and I'll have to check the yardage and see if I can make that work. The other possibility is also purple. Are you sensing a theme? This is Jagger Spun. It is their Cocojo. My goodness, Cocojo. I guess that's how you say that. Cocojo. And it is Sangria, is the colorway, or color name. It's a superwash mulberry silk. So, and this is much finer. It's a fingering weight yarn, but it actually is, where the other one is a heavy fingering weight, I would say this is a lighter fingering weight than maybe even kind of a standard sock yarn. If I hold up my Wonderland Yarns, there we go. You can kind of see the difference there. So either one I think will work, but that's something maybe this evening I can figure out and wind one up and try doing some swatching to see. Maybe I'll swatch both, although I hate to break into one of them if I'm not going to use it right away. So we'll see where I land with that one. But I'm really excited to finally get that Boxy going. That's been something kind of on my radar. Seriously on my radar. Obviously, I've been very aware of the Boxy for quite a while now, several years, but it's something that I've really kind of wanted to work on myself since the beginning of the year. Okay, next on my yarn shelf, I do have a couple of acquisitions. First of all, I got my May yarn from Yarnables, and before I hold it up, I'm going to give you a little spoiler alert. If you haven't received your box yet, you might want to skip ahead a little bit before I reveal, but it is super fun. It was kind of a lemonade theme. Look at the colors. How fun is that? Oh my goodness. So fun. It is called Berry Citrus Bliss, and it like sherbet, right? Is this not sherbet yarn? Like totally makes me want ice cream right now. So yeah, love it, love it, love it, love it. It's gonna go, I don't know what it'll become, but as I've said before, my Yarnables yarn is kind of my regular drip of yarn that I wouldn't necessarily choose, but kind of helps me to expand my yarn shelf. Do you guys tend to buy all the same colors? Like, I know I do. If I actually go out intentionally to buy yarn, as much as I tell myself I'm going to buy something different, I don't. I buy the regal colors, the, you know, sometimes the hot pink. Actually, I don't tend to do pink, but if I am going to do pink, it's that hot pink, bright pink. Yeah, you can see blues, right? That's what I'm wearing. This, yeah, those are my colors. Maroon, see? Yeah. We always do the same thing, don't we? I think we're all like that. So yeah, my Yarnables yarn helps me to have a little variety on my yarn shelf. The second thing that I have that I want to share with you is quite literally on my yarn shelf, because I bought some shelf dividers, and I'm going to insert a video here where I will talk to you about those shelf dividers a little bit, and then also give you a bit of a yarn stash tour. All right, well, I am currently in a spare room here in my house. It's actually, this serves as my stash room. It's kind of a catch-all room. I'll do a quick pan. We have an aquarium, and so this is where we store all the spare equipment. I've got a treadmill. We all have rooms like this, don't we? That basically hold all kinds of stuff. Got toys from my nieces and nephews come over, but that's not why you're here. I wanted to share with you one of my on the yarn shelf acquisitions, which are these wire dividers. I recently shifted my yarn stash from the closet, which is behind me, onto this bookcase, and it was working, but I thought it would be helpful to have some dividers to kind of stack things up, and those came in this past week. They are working really, really well to kind of contain the yarn. I actually feel like I gained some space because I was able to stack things a little better. So I thought I would give you a quick little tour of my yarn stash. I thought of doing this as a separate video at some point in time, but really I don't think, because we're talking just the bookcase, is not really enough to warrant and justify a whole video. So up there in that portion of the shelf, that is all of my Yarnables yarn that I get every month from Hypnotic yarn. I've shared a couple of different projects that I've done with those. So that's what I have in that one. In the cubby next to it, actually the next two cubbies, those are all different fingering yarns from indie dyers primarily. There's not a lot of commercial yarn. I think I got a little Malabrigo in there, but for the most part, that is, yeah, indie dyed yarn in fingering weight. I knit almost exclusively in fingering weight yarn, as you can kind of tell by looking at everything there, but those are the hand dyeds. In this whole shelf here has more of the sweater quantities of yarns that I have. So those are my blues. Those are more of the neutral colors, and then the pinks and the purples are in that shelf there. And then in the bottom shelf, those are balled yarns of all kinds. It's still fingering weight yarn, but it's more of a balled variety as opposed to the skeins that are up on the top shelf. And again, sock yarns and balled yarns there. And then this last one, that is what I have of worsted weight or chunky or something that is bigger than the fingering weights yarns. And then below that, I like to divide my leftovers when I complete a project. So I have 4 buckets. I have the one bucket there has leftovers that are greater than 50 grams. I have a bucket for 20 grams to 50 grams, and then smaller than 20 grams. And then this bucket here is all, I think it's Peyton's wool that I had gotten. I was gonna do some mitten projects for nieces and nephews and never really quite got to it, but that's what's in that bucket. It's contained really well. It's worsted weight wool. that I could use for whatever. It actually would be feltable if I ever just decided I wanted to do a felting project. And then I've been slowly weeding out my magazine collection. That's mostly what I have there. They're all interweave knits. I was a long-time subscriber, and I actually collected for a while all of the issues going back to the very first issue until I stopped subscribing. I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years ago. I'm really close to probably choosing to let go of those because I find that for the most part, I now look at my patterns online, but that is what I have for my magazines. So that is, for the most part, my working yarn stash. I do have some acrylic yarn that I keep in another location. I have a basket of some wool that I've gotten from like an estate, well, I don't want to say an estate sale, but somebody who was closing out an estate. But for the most part, this is my active working stash. Yeah, I'm really excited to have those dividers. I think they're going to make a big difference in helping me to organize on that bookcase. I was really amazed when I kind of was pulling the yarn out and then putting it back in, how I actually feel like I gained a little bit of space because I could better stack things and not have it like kind of falling over. So that was a great addition. I will have a link to the shelves in my show notes below if you would like to order those yourself. Okay, so for today's random knitting fun fact, it's a quick one, but I found a fact that told me that the earliest knitting needles were typically made from bone, ivory, or even tortoise shell. Really, really interesting. I don't think, maybe ivory? No, we don't even have ivory in knitting needles anymore. Primarily now you're gonna find wood or some sort of a metal needle. My preference personally, I've worked with both, but my preference would be metal. But I know some people who are the complete opposite, and the clicky-clacky of the metal drives them crazy, and they much prefer the bamboo or the wood, which does kind of warm up in your hands, and so there's that. I've heard that if you get fatigued a lot, maybe the wood might be another option too, because it does warm up and it kind of changes how you would hold the needles. So anyway, random fun knitting fact about how our tools have changed over the years. Okay, so for this week's day-to-day update, it was busy, really busy, but lots of little things that really are boring to talk about. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on individual things. We did start visiting the elementary schools. We had our first elementary school visit, myself, the principal, the assistant principal. We went to we have 6 elementary schools in the district, and we went to the first one on Friday. That was a lot of fun. We had a presentation that we shared. They had lots of great questions about the middle school and what they can expect. We're gonna have them back in a couple of weeks for a dance, so they'll have an opportunity to actually be in the school. And then of course we have a step-up day right before the school year gets out. So that was on Friday, and then Friday night, like I said, we had the last dance for our current middle schoolers, both 7th and 8th grade. We have one more dance, I think, that is just the 8th grade, kind of a semi-formal kind of an event. But this one was the last one for our current 7th graders to attend. And it was to benefit our Odyssey of the Mind team at the middle school. So being a Odyssey of the Mind while I'm on the board, and having some connection to that and the soft spot. There we go. That's where I was trying to pull out. I decided I wanted to chaperone that one, so I did. I went and chaperoned. It was a couple hours. I actually really like how we set up our dances. We have the music and the dancing in the cafeteria, so it's not super, super dark. And then in the gymnasium, which opens off of the cafeteria, we have that open, and then we spend half the time where they can do basketball, the other half the time we have dodgeball. So I actually spent quite a bit of time in the gym monitoring them as they were doing dodgeball and basketball. So that was kind of nice. That's where I got a lot of my hat knitting done. And it went really, really well for the most part. Yeah, it was good. It was really good. And then Saturday morning, I have been a consultant for a international, actually, major rubber stamp company for the last 27 years, and we have a new catalog that just launched. So I like to have an open house whenever we have a catalog launch, and I held that Saturday morning, yesterday morning. So I had to set up for that when I got home from the dance, and then I did my catalog launch, and then spent the rest of the afternoon kind of working through the paperwork and such for that. And then we visited my mother-in-law last night, and that's pretty much been the week. Like I said, it was a busy week, but just kind of, you know, the everyday busyness of life. We all have lots of different things that are going on, and I am no exception. Really looking forward to the summer coming, a little bit maybe slower pace, at least during the day, that we can then get to enjoy. And that is all that I have for today. I will have the show notes down below. You can find links to all of my projects on Ravelry, and the yarns and everything is going to be right down there. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Knittin Michelle, KNITTINMICHELLE. You can also email me at michellesfiberstudio@gmail.com. If you like this video, please don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel so you will always be updated when I have new videos. With that, I hope you have a fantastic fibery week, and happy knitting!